Welcome to the Addicted Mind Plus, the podcast where recovery, mental health, and wellness take the front seat. I'm Duane Osterlind, and joining me is my co-host, Eric Osterlind, known for his insightful work on the Stuck Brain podcast. In each episode, we'll dive into actionable, small steps to help those in recovery journey further along the path to wellness. Our conversations are designed to be concise, typically around 15 minutes, though we may occasionally delve deeper when the topic demands it. Our goal, to provide you with practical advice grounded in real experiences and expert insights to empower your recovery journey. So whether you're on a break, on a walk, or just taking a moment for yourself, join us as we explore the many facets of recovery and mental health, one small step at a time. This is the Addicted Mind Plus, where your journey to wellness gets an extra boost. So let's get started. All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of the Addicted Mind Plus. I think we have another great episode today, Eric.
I'm excited about this one, so let's talk about it.
So today we're going to talk about the hero's journey. And I think a lot of people have heard about this, but we're going to apply the hero's journey to addiction recovery. And why this is important is because often in our life, especially when we're in recovery, we don't know where we're going. We don't have a context of how things may progress in our lives. And when we have a strong story or narrative, it gives us space to be able to walk through that process. So if you're feeling a little bit lost in your recovery, I think this episode is going to be helpful.
Me too. And it's fun to talk about because we see it so often. So if you don't know about it, it's in movies, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. Duane, let's dive in. What is the history of the hero's journey?
The hero's journey comes out of the work of Joseph Campbell. And Joseph Campbell wrote a book called The Hero with a Thousand Faces. And his study was looking at mythology across all different cultures. And what he found in that is that there was a common theme in all of these stories that all these different cultures had. And he called that the hero's journey. And it was a theme that all these heroes went through this mythology. And what he found in his work as he explored all of these different mythologies was that there was a common arc that all of these heroes went through that had been passed down from generation to generation to generation. They're in all of our myth, like you were talking about. Star Wars and the Lord of the Rings come out of that work. And so we see it over and over again. And I like to think of this as humanity's universal template for our life's journey. There's wisdom in all of these myths that we can apply to our life right now.
I would agree. I agree wholeheartedly. We see this in recovery itself, and then we see it in the movies, and we all identify with it. When we watch these movies, we're like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Right? There's a identifying characteristic to it. So let's move into it a little bit deeper. What are the three stages that he talks about in the hero's journey?
Yeah. So in doing his work, he broke down this journey into three phases. And what's important about these three phases is that we can use those and apply those to our own life and our own recovery journey. So that's really important here. We're taking this mythology that we see, the phases that the hero goes through, and we're applying it to our own life. And like you were saying earlier, that's why movies like Star Wars are really powerful, because they follow that archetype, that arc, that story arc. It's the same with one of my favorite movies, Lord of the Rings. I love Tolkien's work and Frodo's journey. It's a perfect metaphor for recovery.
I agree.
Let's look at those three phases. So the first phase that a hero has to go through is the departure. They have to leave the ordinary world. So when I look at recovery, this is the moment when a person realizes that they have to make some change. They've been living their life in this way, and they get this call that something's got to change. It's the moment of crisis where a person says, I've got to change. This is the departure. Now you're on
Yeah.
this journey.
Yeah. So the departure would be like, a lot of people say hitting rock bottom,
Yeah,
or they realize that their addiction is now destructive and destroying their life. And they're like, I have to change.
right.
Something's going on here. That moment in the movies is the departure.
Yeah, but what's really interesting about this piece is that there's often in this storyline a refusal to the call.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I know
Yeah.
I need to change, but nope, I'm going to stay.
Yep.
And you see that a lot. So when you look at addiction recovery, there's often a lot of refusals to the call. It's like, yes, I'm going to do this, and no, I'm going to stay here.
Yeah, and you see that in The Lord of the Rings where Frodo doesn't want to go in the beginning. I'm just a hobbit. It's the same correlation that we have in recovery.
But what happens is, once again, a crisis comes in and forces the person, like, they refuse it, but they can't. But then oftentimes, maybe they meet somebody that helps them out, gets them going. Like Gandalf comes in and says, hey, let's get going. You need help, and I'll support you in this. You have to take the call.
Yeah, you have to take the call. You have to go this route. And then that leads us into the next stage, which is the initiation.
Yeah, and this is where all the tests come in, where the hero has to get his allies and his enemies, and he has to go through all these trials and tribulations as he's getting to that final moment. And this is, you think about this is like facing the challenges and the emotional struggles of just getting sober. People that might not be helpful to you, maybe enemies, someone who's trying to keep you in that addictive process, to having allies, friends who are supporting you in recovery, and figuring out all of those things. And so this is the initiation phase of it. But it gets to a point where you have to go into what they call in this the innermost cave, the darkest moment.
Yeah.
It's when, in the example we're using, Frodo in The Lord of the Rings. And once again, if you haven't watched that movie, I encourage you to watch The Lord of the Rings, the whole trilogy. It's a great metaphor for recovery and addiction and going through this process. Frodo reaches that point near the end of the movie where he has to destroy the one ring of power and give up this thing that he just wants so much, that everybody wants. It's the, if you think about it, it's like the one ring is the addiction. It has all of the power, the cravings, everything, and he has to give it up, and he has to fight that peace within himself. And that's that deep work, I think, that we do in recovery. Once we get through all the tests of getting sober and doing all that, approaching the innermost cave that the hero has to do, or the darkness, is a difficult moment. It's that moment of like seeing it all and walking through it to the other side. Often for addicts, it's facing maybe their guilt and their shame, the internal struggle of unworthiness that comes with addiction. Like they have to face it and walk through that other side. And it's terrifying to do it.
That's the hard part. That's the struggle that he's going through. But then once he does, then he moves into the third phase.
Yeah, and that's the return, the road back. So you do all this work, the hero's done all that. This is the ending of the movie where Frodo goes back and realizes that he's a changed person. He's no longer the same, and that ordinary life is no longer there.
And the key to that is at that stage, that's where he's completely changed. He's a new person. He's changed from going into that cave and doing all that hard work, that internal reflection. And now he's a new person.
Yeah, and in the hero's journey, it's the return with the gifts from the journey. That not only he has the gifts for himself, but he has the gifts to give to others and to return that to others. And I think that's a really important part too. And so seeing our recovery through these phases in the hero's journey, I think really helps us conceptualize the struggle. It gives us, in a way, a roadmap.
Yeah, I agree. If you're stuck, you might be telling yourself the wrong story. And so using a story outline might help you get a new story and a new outcome.
Right. You can conceptualize your story in this new way. And I too believe, like you said, this has been with us for thousands of years, that there's wisdom in these archetypes. This is part of the human struggle in our lives, is walking through this storyline. And once again, we go through this journey in one phase of our life, but we'll repeat it again. We'll have to go through this hero's journey again at some point in our lives as we age, as we go through different events in our lives. We'll have to do this, but we can have this arc that we can go through, and we can make ourselves the hero of our story.
Yeah, which is so key to recovery.
It's really powerful to be able to see it that way and put your life in this framework. It gives us a direction to go.
I agree. So we did create a worksheet that you can work through to help see where you're at on your hero's journey and help change your narrative and the story that you're telling yourself. This can be very powerful and help with recovery. Also, if you want to know more, we are doing a deep dive on this one. I'm excited about doing the deep dive. I love doing the deep dives. This is where we go in live and we go through this, and we'll answer any questions you have about the hero's journey. So you can sign up for that at theaddictedmind.com/plus. You'll see a deep dive link. And we're also creating a community.
That's right. I'm really excited about this part too, because it's a place for all of us to be able to share our hero's journey and get guidance on the way. Part of the hero's journey is meeting mentors along the way. If you look at the story of Frodo or Star Wars, Luke Skywalker, there are people that come out and help him along the way on his journey, and that's community. And I think that's really powerful. And if that's something that interests you, we'd love to invite you to get on our wait list. You can just go to theaddictedmind.com. I put a link at the top there that you can sign up and get on the wait list. We'd love to see if there's a lot of interest in that, to be able to join us in this journey.
So we'll see you on the next episode.
All right, everybody. See you on the next episode. Thank you for tuning into The Addicted Mind Plus. We hope today's episode has brought you valuable insights and a small step to support your journey in recovery, mental health, and wellness. For more information about this episode and additional resources, please visit our website at theaddictedmind.com/plus. And if there's a topic you're eager to hear about or a question you'd like us to explore, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us at theaddictedmind.com and let us know your thoughts. Your journey is important, and we're here to support you every step of the way. Until next time, take care and keep stepping forward on your path to wellness.